Welcome to Hearts and Stripes, your one-stop shop for all things military marriage. I hope our discussions and interviews equip you with the tools to start or grow a beautiful marriage as we address the benefits and challenges of mil marriage. I believe life's most precious moments are worth celebrating, so I'll help you design your marriage blueprint in alignment with your core values. Thank you for joining us, and remember to rate, subscribe, and review. Let's do this. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hearts and Stripes podcast. I am your host, Bree Carroll, and I am so excited that you are joining us for this heart to heart. We are about to have some real talk. I am really excited about this episode because I get to talk to a woman that I greatly admire. She has done amazing things in the space, and you get an opportunity to hear from her directly. But before I introduce our guest, I just want to say welcome. If this is your first time listening to Hearts and Stripes podcast, what you need to know is here we are all about strengthening military marriages. And the way we do that is through our conversations and interviews. We equip you with different tools so that you can continue to build and grow a sustainable, healthy, and thriving marriage. On that note, actually, I have to tell you that this episode is actually presented by and featuring, highlighting, sponsored by, however you want to call it. It's all about Military Marriage Day. Military Marriage Day is actually the newest holiday in our armed forces and will be celebrated August the 14th. But what you may not have known is that this year, as we count down to Military Marriage Day, we will have something special this year for you to go a little deeper. Not just candies and flowers. No, we really want to further this process of equipping you and really thriving in your relationship. So what we are doing is having the Military Marriage Day Summit. It is a 2-day summit that you can participate with your spouse completely virtually. So whether you guys are geographically separated or you are sitting in the same house, we want you to do a little staycation, be intentional about building your relationship, and join us for the Military Marriage Day Summit. You can find out more information at militarymarriageday.com. Again, that's militarymarriageday.com for the Military Marriage Day Summit. Now, the moment that you've been waiting for, I'm going to introduce our very special guest for this heart to heart. We have none other than Rachel Luna. Rachel is a best-selling author, sales confidence, mindset strategist, and highly sought after international speaker. What you may not know about her, and maybe some have, but she is a former U.S. Marine. And yes, great things come in small packages because this 4'11" firecracker has a reputation for inspiring, confident action and helping her clients double, triple, and quadruple her income. You are going to want to listen in as we have some real talk with Rachel. I absolutely love her podcast, Permission to Offend, her courses like the Faith Activated Journaling Experience, and even her live events like Confidence Activated has just been tremendous to see her work. We may even chat a little bit about her upcoming book that she has, but I want all of you guys to help me welcome the one and only Rachel Luna. Say hello to everyone, Rachel.
Hello. Thank you for having me, Bree. So excited.
I have been looking forward to this conversation for some time. I already told y'all in the intro all the things that Rachel has accomplished and how she continues to serve people. So we're going to dive right in with how we typically open up Hearts and Stripes. And I would love for you to share a little bit of your mil marriage story and your experience as a service member.
Okay. Well, I was enlisted in the United States Marine Corps myself, and I was stationed in Stuttgart, Germany. And I remember at that time I was working in the command center. And in the command center, in addition to what we did for the military, or excuse me, the Marine Corps as a whole, in other parts of the world, one of our jobs in our little unit was to monitor the area. So we had all these cameras and site, making sure that, people weren't crossing lines, right? So there was this guy that came to supply. And by the way, I was that kind of girl. Like I was friends with everyone, very bubbly, always going out
Yes.
to different sections and checking in on people, did my rounds, whatever. So I was really good friends with the guys over pretty much everywhere, but in supply in particular. And I go to supply one day just to shoot the breeze with my buddy. And I see this really good looking new guy. And I kind of like, I am up and down, like, who you?
Right.
What are
Hey,
you
new guy.
doing?
Hey.
Yeah. And he was replacing my friend. So they were doing the turnover, whatever. So immediately I was like, who's this? Let me go find out. Let me make it my business to discover who he is. So
Mm-hmm.
I would go down there probably every day just to, talk. And one day he says, every time you come in here, all you do is run your mouth. Next time you come in here, bring me a strawberry pie. If you don't have a strawberry pie for me, don't come up in here. And I just looked at him. I was like, why do you run your mouth? That's nobody's even talking to you. I came to see Medlin. Like,
Sassy. I love it.
it was that kind of thing. But first of all, I had never even known strawberry pies. I'm from New York City. Like,
Mm-hmm. I'm from
there
Jersey,
was
so I get it. We didn't come up with that.
like strawberry, a pie came in a plastic bag. You know what I'm talking? You know which ones I'm.
Yes, yes.
And the
Mm-hmm.
cherry, and okay, so I go to the commissary that night, like, okay, I'm gonna find a strawberry pie. Marie Callender's makes a strawberry pie.
Oh.
So I was like, bet. I got the pie. I bring it over. I go the next day to the office and I throw the pie at the desk. I didn't like lovingly give it to him. I just threw it at the desk and I was like, there, now you could, shut up. Got you your pie. Now, the reason why it's important that I tell you the fact that we used to be in control of the cameras is because I worked in a separate building and our office was secure. So there was no windows. You couldn't
Right.
see in, but I could see out with the cameras. So
Mm-hmm.
every time this guy would come into my building and I would watch, I would zoom in on the cameras. I tell people I stalked him.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. I would zoom in on the camera. And whenever he would come up the stairs, like he was going to come onto my deck, I would come out the real fast, like I was going to the bathroom. And I'd be like, why are you always following me? Every time I come out, there you are. Like, stop. Hello.
Right,
Stop.
right.
So finally one day, I said, hey, where they got you staying? Have you gone out to eat or anything? And he said no. And I said, well, if you want, I'm cooking at the barracks. You can, come in and eat with us. And I don't remember if he came to that, but then we were going out somewhere. And I said, hey, oh no, I said, I'm gonna take you out to dinner. I'm gonna show you some places.
Yeah.
I was very forward, very aggressive. I think now who I am today, I don't know that I would have pursued my husband to that degree. I think I would have let him come to me. But yeah, 27, 26-year-old me was real like, I'm
Like,
gonna
I know what I want. I see it.
fish him, reel him in. So we went to a dinner and that was it. And I really liked him, but it was just still platonic. And then the following week we went dancing with a group of friends and he says I kissed him, but that is not true. We were dancing and he leaned in and kissed me and I kissed him back.
Yes.
And here we are. Next week is going to be our 11. Is it our 11 or 12? I don't know. We've been together for 13 years.
That's amazing.
So,
I love that. I absolutely love it. I love how you were forward. You knew what you wanted
good.
and you went after it. And look, the kiss on the dance floor, you heard it here first. Rachel said he kissed her. And that's what we're going for. That's what we're going with.
That's my
I
story.
love it. I love that. I love it, especially because y'all were mill to mill. So that was probably challenging navigating that.
In the beginning, it was easy, actually.
Really? That's good to hear.
It was easy, but I think also I had decided it was going to be easy. And so then I was just talking to a girlfriend earlier today where she was like, I don't want to work that hard. I said, well, what does hard even mean to you?
That's so good.
Because sometimes we say like, I don't want it to be hard, but what we really mean is I don't want to feel pain while I do this. I'm willing to be challenged. And the example that I gave her has nothing to do with marriage, but we just refaced our fireplace. And I use those sticky tiles.
Yes.
So these are the stone ones, which I thought this is going to be so easy. You
Mm-hmm.
just peel it off, slap them on, you're good to go. But no, not so. First of all, you have to wipe it down, like, prime the surface.
Right.
Then you have to, the tiles don't cut perfect. You have to cut them and measure. And then,
Yes.
even after that, when you go to apply, you have one shot to get it right because the adhesive is so strong. If you mess it up and it doesn't even come off easily, now you have to hammer and chisel. So it's not easy,
Right.
but it wasn't hard to the point where I was like, I hate this. No, it was a challenge and there was so much reward. And I love the outcome so much that I don't even want to be in my office today. I'm sitting in
Mhm.
my living room because I want to look at this thing. So I know I've kind of taken us off the path of marriage,
No, I think that's
relationships,
really
but
that's a lesson right there in itself for relationships. And I love that you said that because I had another guest who came on and talked about infidelity and healing from that. And they also offered this same perspective of what do you call hard? Like people think, like I mentioned, mill to mill is hard, but I loved how you said like what is even hard? It's a
Mhm.
matter of perspective. Are you going after that challenge to get the end result that you want, like your fireplace? Or are you going to sit there and think through what other people say or other people are projecting is a difficult situation, and are you going to stay stuck there? I definitely think that is a lesson for married couples, and you dropping gems and we just getting started, so I love it.
Well, amen. Praise God. So it wasn't hard at all. It was really fun. I mean, the other thing you have to remember is that we were in Europe. We were
Mm.
stationed in a wonderful place. You know, when the real challenge began for me was when I wasn't in the military,
Ah, okay.
when I was now the spouse and he was the service member. And I really suffered from a loss of identity
Mm.
because for so many years, I had been a Marine I was Staff Sergeant Rodriguez. I had my own thing. And now I had left the Marine Corps. I started having children. And now I was just a mom. I was a stay-at-home mom. And
I
that was
know.
never a role that I ever wanted exclusively. I had wanted to be a mom, but I had been told early on that like having children was going to be a real challenge for me. So when the doctors told me that, I think there was some sort of a shift in my mind that's like I didn't even want to hope for that. And in not even wanting to hope for that, when I had it, I couldn't really grasp that it was
Yeah.
for me. And
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk about that for a second because
Yes.
I think that if I would have known then what I know now, I still would have been hopeful, but I would have surrendered my emotional attachment to the outcome. Like I still would have stayed hungry for motherhood and hungry for children and
Yeah.
excited about it and also at peace. Like that would be amazing. But if it doesn't happen, that's amazing too. But
Yeah.
instead, my thought was, I don't even want that. I don't even want forget children. And I was so angry and there was like a wound in me, right? And so in
Mm-hmm.
my book, Permission to Offend, which will be out next year in May 2022, hey, I talk
Yes.
about being a wounded offender. And so
Mm.
I was really coming from that place of hurt and loss. So that when I had children and I had all the things that I once really wanted, I was afraid. Now I have it, and now I don't even know what to do because I spent so many years trying to reject this desire.
Mm. That's good.
So, for the woman or even man listening to this, that I just want to remind you to keep hoping for the things that you think are impossible. Keep hoping for the things that others have told you you can have, and surrender your emotional attachment to how or when or what it's going to look like. Just be open to like, if it happens, when it happens, that would be amazing. And here's how I would respond. So things got very difficult for me as a new mom.
Yeah.
A
You
state mom.
Yeah, that's a lot. So let's unpack that a little bit. I love that you talked about that. And I love that you were transparent, and thank you for being transparent about that reality of that identity crisis. That's something that I coach women through specifically in this community, as service members transition or as spouses are moving from place to place. Identity is something that we don't realize can impact our emotional, our health, our wellness, our mental, all of these things. So I absolutely am grateful that you shared that even you walked through something like that. And then the big aha here, even for me, surrendering that emotional attachment. Like I love Patrice Washington, a common friend of ours. I love how she always talks about it's in the doing, but you have to be focused and doing things on purpose and not just for what you think the process will look like or in the timing that you think it should be or how you think it needs to look. You kind of need to surrender those things and just commit your yes or commit what it is that you're doing and move forward. And I love how you said surrendering that emotional attachment, because you're right. In this military life, we don't have control like that. Like,
Oh.
no.
I had a friend who was told they got orders. TMO came and took all their stuff. 3 days before they're going to get on the flight, those orders got canceled.
Woo.
Stuff gone.
Listen.
You gotta, I mean, that's one of the gifts that we get as service members and service families.
Yeah.
That's the gift that we get, is learning how to be agile and nimble and adaptable.
Yes. And I think, Rachel, I think that is why I love doing this podcast and talking about relationships, because I feel like if there was ever a community that could thrive in relationships, it's
Mhm.
this military community, because you said it right there. It's a gift that we get to be stretched and figure out how to be flexible and figure out how to surrender. This builds up something in us, in our relationships, that the typical couple may not have to face in the same way. And I think there's really strength in that. And I'm glad that you were able to point that out, even in your own experience.
Thank you.
So I do want to ask you, just from your experience and your work as a coach, as an international speaker, one of the things that I truly believe in here is that you have to show up for yourself before you can show up for your marriage. Can you talk a little bit about just in building what you have created in your own life and manifested so much in your career, personally, professionally? How are you able to do that? Working on yourself, and then also, what are some lessons learned for how you were able to put that in harmony with working on your marriage?
Okay, well, again, hindsight is always 2020.
Oh yeah.
If I knew then what I know now, I really would have done things so differently than the way that I did. You're absolutely correct. We do have to work on ourselves. We have to put our own oxygen mask on first.
Yes.
And some of the things that I would have done differently is, number one, recognizing that my husband and I are two individuals and we each have our own path in life to take. And I think it's interesting because I don't know how you were raised or what you were taught, but I remember a marriage being really romanticized, and that it was going to be this thing where you were on the same path and you were holding hands every step of the
All
way.
the time, right?
And it's just like, if you were not on the same page, and if you, then there was something wrong. And one of the things that I have taken on for myself in our marriage is, I know that my husband and I want the same things. We just have a different approach to getting there. Right? Like
Yeah.
we're crossing the same finish line. We're just at different points in the race.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that that's important, to just let your partner be wherever they are. Stop trying to pull them with you, and definitely don't grab onto them when they're on a freaking sprint.
Yes.
No, if they're on a sprint, let them go. If they're slowing down because they're catching their breath, like, you don't have to stop. You can do a couple things. You can look back and cheer them on and say, come on, get up here with me.
Yes.
You can go ahead and sprint up ahead, build some time. You can circle back for them. When I think about, especially as a service member, when I think about in the Marine Corps, some of the moments that I still get the chills thinking about, I was always a very slow runner.
Mm-hmm.
But it was those moments where I was at the back and the whole platoon was circled back for me. And they didn't just dip out and leave. They did, right? They ran their pace.
Yeah.
They gave me an opportunity to catch up. And when I couldn't, they came back for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I think about marriage now and the way that I view it, some days I am full sprint and I want to do all the things, and my husband needs to like chill. And
Right.
other days he's really, he's on his thing, and I'm either going to cheer him on, I'm going to sprint with him, or I'm just going to let him go and I'll catch him.
Yeah.
But we continue to have conversations about, okay, well, what race are you running and
Mm-hmm.
where's the finish line? Does the finish line still look the same? And it does. And so I'm totally fine with the fact that we might be in different lanes, we might be in different places. When I need him and I verbalize my needs,
Yes.
then he comes in and supports. But what does not work is when I need him and I'm expecting him to be a mind reader.
There you go,
I'm
right?
expecting him to pick up on my passive aggressive cues, and I'm setting us both up for failure. It's not fair.
Right.
It's not fair to anybody in the marriage to be passive aggressive, to expect the other person to be something they're not or someone that they're not. The
Right.
only thing we can do is be examples, model the behavior, and verbally express our needs, wants, desires, and then have good dialogue about it.
That's good. That is so good. Rachel, I wanted to like throw my whole notepad at you because last episode we talked about being in different seasons as your spouse. We modeled it almost like the 4 seasons. You may be in summer right now. It's warm, it's vibrant. Like that's the season that you're in. You don't fault your spouse for being in a winter or a dormant season in their life. And I love how you said that the same, you still are going on the same, you're still on the same race, and the same finish line is still the same for the both of you, and being in agreement in that way, but honoring them where they are in that process or at the pace that they're running. I love that so much. And you didn't even know we was already talking about that. So Rachel just confirmed what we were talking about last episode as a lesson learned for herself. And I think that's really valuable to hear it that way, because I think people always assume these stereotypes or these images, this Hollywood of what marriage is supposed to be. And you're absolutely right. If we're both not sprinting, people start feeling like something's wrong. Because I'll be honest, like even as a military spouse who's had a career for the majority of the time, it looks very different, and we can get into trouble if I'm looking at my husband's career and trying to keep up and continue to work my career at the same time or anything like that.
It's so interesting that you said that about looking over, because I think that is also a big mistake that I have made in my marriage throughout the years, is comparison, right? Comparison is the thief of joy. So for example, I remember getting so angry that I would be cooking and cleaning and, doing household things. I don't really enjoy those things, just for the record. Well, actually, that's not true. Back then, because my seasons are changing.
Yeah.
For me now, when I clean my kitchen, I feel good. I feel like, oh man, the house looks good. But what was happening is that back in the day, I'd be cleaning and I'd be like, he didn't help me clean.
Right.
He's just over there laying down and da 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 da.
Right.
Because I was comparing what I was doing versus what he was doing, instead of just saying, what is what I'm doing right now doing for me?
Right.
How is this bringing me joy? And once I started looking at it from that lens, like all of a sudden now picking up the kids, shuttling them around, like that's not an area of resentment of like, I'm doing it and he's not. It's more
Yeah.
like, this is awesome. I'm getting to spend quality time with my kid. This is awesome. I just made this really great meal. I have a sense of purpose. They need me,
Yes.
like, whereas before I would get so mad that they needed me,
Yeah.
right? Like you
Listen,
need
preaching to
me
the
less,
choir. Right.
need
Right.
me less. But no, like, especially, I had breast cancer a couple years ago. Thank you,
Right.
Jesus, for healing and deliverance.
Yes.
And so, after that experience, which was really such a gift, and I know that a lot of people are like, what, girl, listen, it's all about perspective. But after that gift, now I just, I think like they need me.
Yeah.
They need me. So like, oh well, I guess I'm doing dishes today. They need me.
Yes.
I'm the one that remembered this. They need me.
Mm.
And we all do want to be needed. We want to be loved. We want to be seen. We want to be heard. I think that we all say like we want to be appreciated.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that the reason why the desire to be appreciated exists is because we're not taking the time to find the joy in what we're doing and doing it for the sake of not needing or wanting appreciation or validation, but for the sake of having the experience of doing it.
Yes. Rachel, you just said so much. You just said so. I identify with so many of those things. And I love that, finding the joy in what you're doing, finding the joy in that season. And for those who caught on, as Rachel mentioned, about being a breast cancer survivor, please go follow her. Like, if when I'm talking about encouragement, being inspired, getting some action items to like change your life, you absolutely want to tune in and be sure that you are following her at Girl Confidence on Instagram, because I like to hang out on Instagram. But you should just follow and be encouraged, because she really does. She's not just talking it. She's really being transparent, and I'm grateful for it, because she's giving us real talk, the
Hey,
scoop on these lessons learned, and then from her own path, as she's seen success, telling us that we need to find joy in our present season. And I mean, we talked about prior to, like, all the things I have going on in my personal life as well, finding joy in the midst of uncertainty, finding joy in the midst of transition, finding joy in the role as of being a mom. And I know some of y'all, we've talked about this on the podcast, but for those who maybe missed those episodes, I struggled with being a mom as well, because I always identified as, oh, you're the engineer. Oh, you're the independent person. Like, I loved my relationship, but like, whoa, these little people, wait, hold on. You want me to do this too?
holding me back. Me
Right.
down.
Cause I want to run and go to this next thing. Like, my personality is futuristic. So I'm always thinking about next. And my word for 2021 is present. And
Mm,
it has been such a like, okay, Lord, we are going to work out being present and being happy with who I am with my personality. But like you just said, taking joy in those present moments has just been life changing for 2021.
You just said something, and I think a lot in analogies. You said, the kids, and I just want to go. And all of a sudden, I had this image of like, that's cool, you can go. Now that means that you need to strengthen yourself emotionally, spiritually, physically, so that you can pick
Yes.
them kids up with you and
And
go.
go. Yeah.
Because there are some people that have that strength, right? Have you ever seen like, I remember seeing this one woman 9 months pregnant running a full marathon.
Oh, wow.
9 months pregnant running a full, listen, 9 months pregnant. I'm not even barely walking from here to the bathroom.
Correct. Correct.
Okay. But why was she able to do that? because she had done the training, she had conditioned herself. So what would it look like? And I'm talking to myself right now because I had never seen this picture before. But
Mm-hmm.
what would it look like if we started conditioning and strengthening ourselves to not do more for the sake of doing more, but to do things with intention so that we have the capacity and the strength and the stamina and the endurance to run the race that we desire with our people, encouraging
Yeah,
our little ones, encouraging our spouses, like, carrying them when they can't walk.
that's so good. That is so good. And I hope that encouraged anybody who feels similarly, because oftentimes I feel like as military spouse or maybe even as service members, we think we have to choose.
Mm,
What if it is just being more intentional,
yep.
building that muscle so that
Yep.
you can truly, like you said, carry those who can't walk right now or
Yeah.
carry your family in a new way? That is so encouraging for me personally. And I hope y'all are getting something while we're chatting it up as well. But I absolutely love that. Rachel, we are definitely going to look out for permission to offend. I know I have been following this writing journey. We are cheering you on as you are authoring your truths. It's going to be amazing. And like I said, please connect with Rachel. She is someone who is in and of this military community and has been extremely successful, and really has the heart to see you succeed personally and professionally as well. So please link up with her, follow her on all the places. Rachel, I'll give you an opportunity to share specifically where you like to hang out. Like I said, I like to hang out on Instagram, but how can
Instagram
people stay
girl.
connected with you?
I'm an Instagram girl for sure at Girl Confident. You can also subscribe to my podcast, Permission to Offend, and definitely get on my email list, rachelluna.biz/lunatic, because we are crazy enough
They
to
are
think
lunatics. It's amazing. You'll love it.
are in full force, but rachelluna.biz/lunatic. And the reason why I say join me there, even before you follow me on social media, is because number one, I don't clog up your inbox. I hate email myself. So, but I share things there that I don't share on social media. Like today, for example, a really, really good email is going out. And yeah, so those are the places.
That's awesome. So we will make sure that we link that all in the show notes so that you can easily stay connected with this powerhouse of a woman. Rachel, I'm so grateful for you to take the time and share with us. But before I let you go, and we're talking about all the things working on ourselves as we're working on our marriage, and we're just having real talk. Heart Tracks. Y'all know I love Heart Tracks. Heart Tracks is our playlist that we have for each episode. Our guest picks a song that will be added to the playlist. As a reminder of kind of what we discussed, you can check out the full list of Heart Tracks on Heart Tracks 2 on Spotify. So check us out again, Heart Tracks 2 on Spotify. So, Rachel, it is the moment of truth. We need to know what
Yeah.
the heart track is. And I'm just feeling in my spirit that we might be getting double for our trouble. I
I,
don't know.
it's interesting when I knew you were going to ask this question, and I thought I was going to go with two, but I'm going to double down on my
All
old.
right.
Yes. All I Do Is Win by
All
DJ
I do,
Khaled.
yes,
I'm going
DJ
to go with that.
Khaled.
What was the other one? There was another one I
We
had.
the best. All the way up was the other one you were
All the way
thinking
up,
of.
nothing can stop me. I do like that one too, but I will say All I Do Is Win, and I'll tell you why. Um, because when you purpose yourself to win in your marriage, when you listen, that song always reminds me of marriage and business. Like if I really purpose myself, if I'm intentional, if I come at it, it's going to happen. There is going to be a victory. And so, just prophesy those words over your marriage, over your husband, over your wife.
I
Over,
love it. Love it over all the things, personally, professionally, because here at Hearts and Stripes, we want you to thrive as an individual in your marriage and as you are building that legacy. So, Rachel, thank you again. I am so grateful that you could share with us. I will continue as I'm a lunatic myself, so I'll be following along. And I would encourage anybody to connect with Rachel again. All the links for you to follow will be in the show notes. So, Rachel, thank you again.
Thank you, Bree. It was such a pleasure.
Thank you for tuning in. Remember to rate, subscribe, and review. This is Hearts and Stripes. We are the few, the proud, that aim high and are forged by love. Always ready, always there. We are Mill Marriage Strong.